Is Jesus angry at your church? Is Jesus angry at you? I'm Dave Early, and we're going to talk about something that made Jesus angry and something that still makes Jesus angry. Mark chapter 11, verse 15, it says, "So they came to Jerusalem. Then Jesus went into the temple and began to drive out those who bought and sold in the temple, and overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold doves. And he wouldn't allow anyone to carry wares through the temple. Then he taught, saying to them, 'Is it not written, my house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations? But you've made it into a den of thieves.'" What made Jesus angry? His passion, his desire, stated back in Isaiah 56 verse 7, 700 years earlier, restated by Jesus in Mark chapter 11, his passion was that his church would be a house of prayer for all nations. His passion would be that every one of his people, the temple of the Holy Spirit, would be a house of prayer for all nations. Let's look at this story just quickly. Jesus was angry. He's angry. He's throwing people out of the temple area. He's turning over tables and chairs. John chapter 2 tells us that a parallel passage, he got a whip and he was chasing people out with a whip. Jesus was really angry, knowing that getting angry like this, doing like this, would put him in jeopardy of losing his life. It didn't matter because this was so important. Jesus was angry. He was angry because of what they were doing. They were selling sacrifices. If you brought your lamb from where you raised the lamb out in the country into Jerusalem to make your sacrifice, they would say, "Your lamb's not good enough. You need an official lamb, and so you got to buy this lamb, overpriced animal." If you didn't have any money, they were to give you doves. They would charge you for the doves. And no matter what you did, if you wanted to give an offering, you wanted to buy a lamb or whatever, you needed a temple coin, an official coin, which you had to change in your money for an official coin. And of course, they made a profit and you stood to lose. So they were doing the wrong things. They were doing the wrong things in the temple. They were cutting through the temple. 12 gates in the temple area. The temple pretty much in the middle of Jerusalem. To go from one side of Jerusalem to another, people just cut right through the temple courts. The courts of the Gentiles. The courts of the women. They just cut right through there. He was angry because of what they were doing. But he was also angry because of what they were not doing. What were they not doing? They were not being a house of prayer for all nations. They weren't praying for all nations. They weren't making the temple accessible for people from all nations, the Gentiles and Jews from other nations to come and pray. He was angry because they were not a house of prayer. We're to be houses of prayer. 1 Corinthians 6 says, we are now the temple of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit abides in us, not a building, in each individual believer. We are the house of God. Individually, we're to be houses of prayer. We're to be praying for people of all nations to come to Christ, praying for our missionaries, and we're to be praying with people, all types of people, including people from other nations who are seeking Christ and other people from other nations who love Christ. But not only we as individuals, but we corporately. We together are the house of God. We together are the temple of God. When we get together, God's Spirit resides with us. Jesus said, when 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, I am there in the midst of you. So our churches are to be houses of prayer. I find churches are busy doing lots and lots of things, but they prioritize everything but prayer. Fellowship, good churches. Evangelism, good churches. Discipleship, Bible teaching, service, all good stuff. Worship, all good things. But we need to make sure that we're being what we're supposed to be, which is a house of prayer. Is Jesus angry at your church? Is Jesus angry at you? Do you need to be a house of prayer? Does your church need to be a house of prayer? I'm Dave Early. Thank you for joining us. If you enjoy these practical Bible teachings, you can follow us on Facebook or subscribe to our YouTube channel.